excited about. Kind of fluttered away this morning, so we're on new ground. Praise God. One thing I want to do this morning before we get started, I want everybody to stand up for a minute. Sort of like physical therapy here. I want everybody to exhale as far as you can and breathe in. Breathe in the life of God. You see, it says, I first thought it said that God breathed life into man. But you know what the word says? I read this week. He breathes life into man. It's an ongoing process.
Amen.
It's not a one-time thing. It's an ongoing thing.
Amen.
So we got to remember. Let's breathe in God, because He's breathing on us. He's breathing life into us. He's breathing life into this church. We don't see it yet quite, but it's coming. It's coming. The winds of change are in the air. There's coming a time that His Spirit's going to move so heavily in here that we're not going to be able to stand. And I look forward to that, because it's been a long, long time since the Spirit's come into church where I've seen the whole congregation slave the Spirit. And some of us miss that, don't we? Yeah. It's coming here. It's coming here. With all the things that's happened, I still had these visions and everything. And I kept asking the Lord, well, were those my imagination? Or what? He says they were for me. So what else can I do but accept them and say, okay, they're still coming. They're still coming.
Absolutely.
It says, though it tarry, the vision tarry, wait. Wait. And that's not even the message I was going to give this morning. But this week has been a week about remembering the greatness of our God. Huh? Oh, yeah, yes. We could be all-time Quaker. I'm sorry. I was looking this morning because the Lord was showing me so many different verses this week about His greatness, how great a God we serve. See, we forget that a lot, that we serve an all-powerful God. You know something else He spoke to me this week? It really kind of blew my mind. And we kind of forget how powerful He really is. Because He said with one word, He could destroy Satan. With one spoken word, He could destroy Satan. But why doesn't He? Because of His mercy. Amen. Hallelujah. To fulfill the days He has already proclaimed.
Amen. Absolutely.
And that's the God we serve. We serve a God that's full of mercy. He even has mercy on His enemies. So you know what great strength is? How you can tell the great kings, if they had great strength, is their mercy. A weak king showed no mercy. But a great king of great power and great strength showed mercy. That's why our country has been so strong, because we showed mercy for so long. Even against our enemies. Because we took that commandment of God, we were godly. Things are changing. The winds are changing. I think they're changing back towards God. Okay, here's the verse I got this morning. The Lord reigneth, let the earth rejoice, let the multitude of the isles be glad thereof. Clouds and darkness are round about Him. Righteousness and judgment are the habitation of His throne. A fire go out before Him, and burneth up His enemies round about. His lightnings enlighteneth the world. The earth saw and trembled. The hills melted like wax at the presence of the Lord. At the presence of the whole earth, the whole earth trembled at the presence of the Lord. The heavens declare his righteousness, and all the people see his glory. Have we seen his glory lately?
What was that?
Huh?
What scripture was that?
Psalms 97. See, and that's what I've been asking the Lord. Lord, I want to see your glory.
Amen.
I want to see your glory. You know, he showed it to Moses. He showed it to his servant, Moses. But we're his children. You know? And back then, you couldn't even come close to the mountain God was at. You couldn't even come close to the presence of God because you would die. But God had a greater plan that he was unveiling then. It's been unveiled through his son, Jesus Christ. That we become his sons and daughters. When that veil was ripped, that early morning, that wasn't for us to come into God. That was God to come out to us. Saying that's the great and mighty God we serve. He was not contained by the veil or by the darkness. He had that veil there for our protection.
That's right.
Until the time of redemption. That veil is to protect us. Because of sin. But see, he had a plan. His plan was called Jesus Christ.
That's right.
That plan was to bring us to a revelation of God through his Son. The loving side of God. See, before, all you could see is the great, terrible, and the hardness of God. But through Jesus, we see this loving compassion. The love he has for his people. He's not ready for any to die or any to suffer. And he looks for them to show himself strong to. And that's what we've been calling out. God, show yourself strong. Because we need a strong God. We need a God to fill this place. We can't come up with a program to do it. We can't give out coffee cups,
That's right.
bring people here. Or some places do car washes, wash car people, the car's free to bring them in. No, we want God to draw them here. That's the God we serve. We serve a God that touches the spirits of people and their hearts. He changes hearts. See, that's where our God is different from all the other gods, the vain gods people serve. He's real. He's not a piece of stone. He's not a piece of wood. You know, and there's a great conflict going on now between the Muslims and the Christians. You know, I really feel sorry. You really got to feel sorry for the Muslims because they think they're going to make heaven. By killing us. But you know what? Day of reckoning is coming. And it might not be in violence or anything. It's going to be God revealing himself to them. You know, but first I think he's going to reveal himself to his church. And that's where we're at now. We're at that threshold, people. Worship last Sunday, how many thought it was awesome?
Amen.
We were so close to the door. We were so close to the door. And the worship
I was on
team,
the other side of the door.
Yeah, so was I.
Me too.
the worship team
I was feeling a
bring you to
breeze.
the door of his presence. But it's us that still has to walk through.
Amen.
You know? When that spirit's moving and the songs are flowing, that's your time. You don't have to sing that song with the worship team. Use that time to praise and worship God in a way that's in your heart.
Amen, brother.
Yeah, you know, they're there. They've created the atmosphere. that counts.
Amen.
You sit back there and, twiddle your thumbs. Yeah, that you can take this opportunity to meet Jesus. How many messages we have it says, come on in. You open the door with your praise. Come in. And a lot of us don't realize what we're supposed to do. That's the time when you start seeking God. When you start calling upon His name. Here I am, Lord. Here I am. That's the time you reach out and touch His garment. Because He's walking in our midst. Well, I don't know where I'm going with this sermon, but here we go. That's the God we serve. We don't serve a God that can't be touched. He wants to be touched. He wants to touch us.
Amen.
He wants a place where He can bring His people to that have been hurt, been disillusioned, where He can touch them. That's His goal. He's that sweet, loving shepherd that wants to bring His flock home. He's looking for that one that's wandering around.
Hallelujah.
He's ready to bring them home. But where's He going to bring them to? Is He going to bring them to a place where they feel comfortable and relaxed at? And that's here. Because we're a family here. But the greatness of our God. You see, He is a terrible God. He is a vengeful God. He does have vengeance because He says, vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. I will repay. But you know what? We stand on the other side of it. Because He already, vengeance for our sins and everything has already been taken care of through the blood of Jesus Christ. Through that cross. And the greatest ones we have to convince of that is ourselves. In prayer, when we're praying, the Lord's brought this to myself. I've been praying this week. I got a friend that's got cancer. And it was a weird type. They didn't even know what it was. They sent it to Mayo Clinic to find out what it was. It came back cancerous. And when I first heard that word, because I thought it was just a tumor. She thought it was just a tumor. Now they come to find out it's cancerous. And my mind starts making excuses. Oh no, that's terrible. It's cancer. And the Lord says, wait a minute. I am the Lord that healeth. He hadn't changed. The prognosis was already different the day they found out it was when it first happened. When they found out. It was still there. And His plan is still there. But we get blinded. We get blinded by life. We let life sort of walk us around too much. Instead of looking at the true life. And that's the life of God. Rachel's sermon last week was so powerful.
Amen.
I mean, that was sort of my springboard into this week. She was talking about trusting God. And that's pretty much what we're talking about today, trust. Everything's been done for you. All you have to do is trust and believe. Isn't there a song like that? There's no other way but to trust and believe.
Trust and obey.
Trust and obey. Well, you got to believe before you can obey.
Yeah, you're not going to listen.
Yeah, I ain't going to listen if I don't believe it anyway. Okay, and I got, because we've had a rough time here in this church, Things don't kind of look bleak. But Lord took me to Job this week. Job had it rough. Job had it really rough. But he had a friend his advice and his word, and told Job how wrong he was. But there was one man that said, well, I'm going to talk for God. The Spirit's burning within me. I'm like a wine capped up. I was ready to explode. But I waited till the elders to speak, which is, I thought, was pretty cool. And he says, Job, who are you to ask judgment from God? Who are you? And when God spoke to Job, that's the first thing he said. Where were you when I created the heavens and the earth? I did all this without you. I really did, really didn't need you then. I kind of don't really need you now, but, so there's sometimes we need to realize who we serve. I forget that I serve a mighty God, awesome in power. I just read to you, in his presence the hills tremble. The earth shakes at his presence. And why do we worry if that's the God we serve? If that's the God that wants fellowship with me? He created Adam and Eve. And they were his creation. But after the fall, he had something greater in store. And that's what's so fantastic about communion. See, if you think about that, communion is showing that God had a better plan than Adam and Eve. Because we were no longer his creation. But he gave us the power to be his sons and daughters. How did he give us that power? Through the blood of Jesus Christ. And his finished work on the cross. That's what it says. It says finished work. There's nothing we can add to it. It's done, it's complete. You can't wear your suit and tie up here and be any more righteous. You can't have your blue jean skirt down to your ankles and be any more righteous than your hair up in a bun. That don't make you any more righteous than you are right now. When you step out of that shower, you're as righteous as you are any other time. Actually, you might be more so because that's the way Adam and Eve was in the garden. And I've heard people say that that's the last thing they want to think about is God in the shower because they're naked. But God sees you anyway. God's there. And that is the time to rejoice that God sees you at your bareness. And that's spiritually, physically, emotionally, mentally, the whole 9 yards. He sees you that way. There's nothing you can hide from God. And I thank God for that. Yeah. He knows all. Because he is mighty. But he is mighty to the point where he wants to love us. And he wants a close relationship with everyone. The Muslim, the Jew, the Pentecostal, the Amish, everybody. But we put boundaries between us and God. We decide, a lot of us decide, well, we'll put religion instead. We have these rules and regulations. We'll be good. But does it really help you? How many has been under the law? How many has ever been in a church where it was rules and regulations? There you go. What's better? What feels better?
Grace.
Grace. Grace isn't what it's about.
That's more difficult.
That's how mighty our God is. Grace. You want to think mightiness and the greatness and the power of God, that word covers it all. Grace. Through grace, all things are possible. The possible thing is being in His presence. And that's the one thing I want to stress today. God has opened the door. The door for Him is open because He's out of it. If you want to go through the door, you're going to have to look, because He's not there, because He's out here with us. That's why Jesus died, for God to be free. That He could once again have fellowship with us. He could have stayed behind that cloud. He could have stayed behind that thing. He could have stayed in the law. But He loves us so greatly that He allowed Jesus to go through all that. That we may have a relationship with Him. Matter of fact, the church shirt I was going to put on this morning was, it's not a religion, it's a relationship. Now I know why it was kind of headed that way. Because I didn't know where my sermon was going at the time. So how many has felt lately that God hasn't been near you? How many feel like there's been a wall between you and God? Nobody?
I have times like that.
I have. I mean, that's what I'm talking about, because I felt that. Well, today is the day we're going to get rid of some walls. And it's not going to be, my preaching is going to do it. It's going to be coming to worship.
That's right.
You know, just take one of these songs. I'm going to challenge you today. This isn't my challenge, I'm almost done. But I'm going to challenge you today to take one of these songs and come into His presence. Don't worry about your kids. Don't worry about your boyfriend or anything else. Just put that one song, about 4 minutes of your life, and just concentrate on God. And see what He does. That's not asking much, is it? 4 minutes? Songs are what, 4 minutes? 3.5? 4?
2.5, depending.
2.5?
2.5.
So, most 4 minutes, if we do a follow-up on it where it keeps going, maybe 5. But I'm just asking you to take, I'm challenging you. Take one song. Let it be yours and God's. Let it be yours and God's. Just forget about everything around you. Close your eyes if that's what it takes. Walk around if that's what it takes. But take that one song and make it yours and God's. Just sing that love song to Him. And the greatest thing is, when you sing that love song to Him, how's that song going? Over the fields of, you know, the one we used to sing in men's conference. He sings over us.
Oh, yeah.
In the fields of grace. In the fields of grace. That's what I'm asking. See, if we sing to Him, He'll sing over us.
There's a place I love to run and play.
Yeah, well, we want to run and play. That's what we have in grace. We can run and play. We don't have to worry about all the bad stuff. We can run and play. Like children. Children of the Most High God. Not the lower gods. Because it says, the verse I read a little bit ago, it says, all gods praise you, O God. All other gods praise you. See, even the demons have to praise God. Ain't that awesome? That's the God we serve. That's the God that's called me to be His son and His daughter. Well, not my daughter, but be His son and you women His daughters. we going to accept that today? Are we going to accept what He's accepted? He's accepted us as His sons and daughters. And see, here comes the rest. It says, enter into my rest. And that's the rest when we can accept that. And that's the challenge today. See, when you take that song and make it you and His, you're accepting that. You're accepting it wholly. Do I have any more? I'm not sure. But,
Dad, what do you say Most High God? Isn't He the only God?
well, He says He's the Most High. Above all other gods.
But there's technically any other God.
Uh,
There technically isn't any other God.
yeah, there's no other really God other than our God. But He's the Most High God. But it talks about other gods in the Bible.
It would be interesting to see what the old Greek was, because English, we get the Most High, you know, what they were actually
What's the
saying.
actual word we use?
Right, what he was saying, I don't know.
Yeah, well, He was,
Well,
that's what He
in the
says. He's
Commandments, it
the
says-
Most High God.
Oh,
You know?
The Ten Commandments, there shall be no other gods.
Yeah.
Right.
So He is saying there are gods that are other people's gods.
Yeah,
Though they're
that
false
are
gods.
I know in the text, he's capital G and all the others are lowercase a, you know.
Yeah, even in this text I was reading this morning, it was
Yeah,
lowercase.
it's because we only have one word for God, so
Yes.
it's God and gods, but lowercase.
So I'd rather worship the big G than the little G. Right? Okay, so I'm going to leave us just at this challenge. I'm going to leave you at this challenge. Everybody take one of these songs they're going to sing. I have no idea what they got in mind for today. But make one of those songs yours and God's. And see what He does with it. If He doesn't sing over you. See, we got to be a place for freedom. First, we got to be free. We got to be free to worship Him in spirit and in truth. So today's our day. I'm ready to do it.
Yeah.
Worship team, you guys ready? Woo! Let's roll.